Black, bold leaders of authority, courage, and knowledge. I have three of my brothers and sisters here to help with the welcome and the prayer. We love to pray before each of our events and have God shine on us so that we can actually inspire and make the world a better place to live. So this vision and mission was thought of by the four of us, and it is to educate and share historical leaders as well as current leaders that are doing great things in the world to make the world better, and to put some light on them and have people see that there is hope, and have people learn more about this month. Every single person in the world should learn more about Black History Month, because the more you know, the more you're able to have gratitude and learn that we need to be together to make this planet work. So I'd like to turn over to Dr. Roz, Dr. Smile, my sister, to give the prayer, and then we're going to go round robin so each of you get to meet and hear these leaders that help us.
Blessings, blessings, blessings. Father God, in Jesus' name, we thank you for raising Black leaders of authority, courage, and knowledge for such a time as this. Clothe us with your wisdom, anchor us in integrity, and fill us with fearless faith. Let our voices carry truth, our actions reflect justice, and our lives reveal your glory. Strengthen our minds, steady our hearts, and establish our steps as we love and lead, serve with humility, and walk in kingdom authority. We declare we are empowered, equipped, and appointed for impact. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen. And why don't we turn over to Dr. Breakthrough, Dr. Stan. Thank you, Dr. Stan. The reason you are here is because we all would not be here if it wasn't for the gracious connections you make unconditionally every single day to people, including myself. So thank you for all the introductions you've made to make these programs more successful.
Hey, man. Well, thank you, man. It's a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure. Appreciate you. And again, anything that God does through me, I'm just so grateful. And I tell people all the time, I was a nobody, but he made me into a somebody. And now I'm committed to telling everybody he can do the same and a whole lot more through anybody. And that's what this is all about. 100th anniversary. It was 1926 when Carter G. Woodson started Black History Week. And then 1976 when it started as Black History Month. So this is the 100th anniversary of this celebrating. And again, the scripture is clear. He that despises his neighbor is because of a lack of wisdom. And so when we're educating, not just, ourselves, but everybody else, I mean, we all can look at people as who they are, not judgmental, not preconceived notions. And so that's what's powerful. So again, thank you, each and every one of you for spearheading this. And thank you who are watching. And by the way, we need you to spread the message, let people know this is powerful, it's practical, and it's designed with your education and your empowerment in mind. So I close with this, and that is, they used to say that you're a product of your environment. And I was like, that's part right, but actually you're a product of your empowerment is what I say. And so we can change our empowerment by being part of this Black Hour of Power every day. By the way, Doc, the other day I was in tears just seeing people honoring other people that are so powerful. Unlike the crab in a bucket, one crab's trying to get out and they pull him back down. No, you're producing a reverse crab in a bucket. We're like saying, hey, Dr. Cassandra, you're doing good, but you can do even better. Go ahead, Tanisha, you got this, girl. Go ahead, Dr. Smile. Go ahead, Dr. Smiling. And so thank you again, and appreciate each and every one of you. I'm honored to be here with you.
Thank you so much. And finally, I'd like to have the voice of our director of events, who has a very, very big shoes to fill. She does all these events. We have over 300 events in February, and I don't know how we do without her. The Smile Channel rejoices because of her smile and her spirit. Thank you, Tanisha.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Smiley, for this vision and allowing me to participate and be a part of the execution of it all. We're excited about so many people being illuminated in this month. There is such a great opportunity. And the wonderful thing is that you still have time to participate. You still have time to share about the leader, the Black leader that is influencing and impacting you. So make sure you go into the comments and click the link where you can sign up to be a part of this Bold Leaders of Authority, Courage, and Knowledge. It is going on every single day in February, every single day for just 1 hour for you to share about the leader you know, and 1 hour for you to learn about leaders that you have not even heard of yet. I've already been reminded of some people that I had forgotten about, and been encouraged about some people that I was like, oh, I forgot they did that. Oh, I never heard of them. And so if you want to learn something new, if you want to be a part of someone else learning something new, then this is a great opportunity for you. And even more so, share it on your socials, share it on your email list. Listen, copy the link and put it in your email list and blast it out for Black History Month, because we want you to be a part. So we thank you for supporting, and we look forward to bigger and better.
Well, I have a surprise for the three of you, because there are so many people we can speak about, and this month is actually taught me a lot about how people are ticking, like how they're inspired. But gratitude is when you actually share how someone touched your life. And I want to share this because there are not enough days in the month for me to speak about the people I would like to speak. But if anyone would like this list of 200 amazing, inspiring leaders, I am going to be speaking about several of them. But this list is available to you. It gives you ideas of who you can speak about. And there are 200, and I will whip through this a little quicker here, and you can have this absolutely for free. And please nominate somebody who wants to speak about a leader if it's not you. Thank you very much, and welcome to Black History Month, Hour of Power.
It's a great day in every way, and I am so happy to be here today. My name is Dr. Lotus Roche, and I'm honored to be a part of this Black Hour of Power. Today, the person that I am speaking of is Brigadier General Adams. Brigadier General Adams was born and raised in Tuskegee, Alabama. He followed in the footsteps of his brother, and he enlisted in the Army after graduating from high school. And when he graduated from high school, he really wanted to go to college, but he didn't know how he was going to pay for it. And so instead of enlisting for just 2 years, he took it upon himself to enlist for a 2-year program to avoid kind of the long wait. So as a military person myself, I know how that could be. He wanted to get right to it. Yet the primary thing on his mind was making sure that, as with many of us that like to go to college or pursue greater educations in our lives, we don't sometimes have the funding. And we don't want our parents to have to worry about it. And because of that, he often says this. He says, I was looking at ways I didn't have to pay, or for my mom not to have to pay. And Adams also said that, she was already working 2 jobs, as many of our parents do, to take care of us. And so he said, I'm going to follow in the footsteps of my brother, and I'm going to start my school. And he said, my sister was in school at the time, so I needed to find another way to do what I wanted to do, to be higher educated. And the interesting thing, and I'm going to be looking over because I don't want to miss anything. I want to make sure I give you all the great notes. The interesting thing that he did was he said, I'm going to enlist. And so he did. And he came from humble beginnings. So he joined the armed forces as a cook. And he was stationed at Fort Bragg in North Carolina at the Army base. And he connected so many people through so many jobs. He connected to Pope Air Force Base. And it was this daily close connection that led him to eventually switch from one area of service to the other, which was Air Force. And he did that 6 years later. After serving in the Army for those 6 years and going through the Air Force, he went as a reserve officer at the training corps at Alabama State University. It was a detachment 019. And after graduating from Auburn University in Montgomery, Alabama, he was able to move forward. He got the education he was looking for. Yet, as a military person, we are educated within the armed forces to do a multitude of things, but primarily to lead. Not only to lead with vigor and to lead with strength, we also create leaders. And that's what great leaders do, create great leaders. Let me share with you some of his achievements. He's commanded 6 times at the squadron and group levels, 3 of which while on deployments to Sabid, the Air Force Base, Oman, Kirkuk Air Force Base, Iraq, Ali Air Force Base, and Al Udeid Air Base, Qatar. So many places he deployed to in support of operations Southern Watch, Iraq Freedom, Enduring Freedom, New Dawn, and Combined Joint Task Force, Horn of Africa. He's been the director of cyberspace operations and warfighter communications, Office of Deputy Chief of Staff for Intelligence, Surveillance, Reconnaissance, and Cyber Effects Operations. Headquarters, U.S. Air Force, the Pentagon, Arlington, Virginia. He's also been the Deputy Principal Cyber Advisor to the Secretary of Defense and Senior Military Advisor for Cyber Policy, among others. Whew, that was a lot to say. And that's why I wrote it down, because I didn't want to miss any of this. A man so great that wears so many hats must be celebrated. This gentleman leads by virtue of the 3 L's of leadership. He listens, he lifts, and he loves. This is what he shares with the world as he travels, as he leads, and as he goes to help leaders become great in their vocation. He shares, my personality and my superpower, if you want to see it that way, is to listen to them, to lift them up from where they are now to wherever goals they have, and to express love. He said, we don't use love, this love word often in the military. But if there were more love and togetherness, you'd have less assaults, less discrimination, and less suicides. You see, he said, letting people know you really care about them is a door opener for them to be vulnerable so you can really understand who they are. And that doesn't happen without a loving environment. Lessons he taught me. I want to bring it closer to home. I've shared with you some of the written accolades about Brigadier General Adams. I've shared with you his achievements. I've shared with you quotes and ideologies that he lives by. Yet, when I was asked to talk about someone historically who has had an indelible impact on my life, I chose him immediately. And I also chose Lieutenant Colonel Michelle Law Gordon. And Lieutenant Colonel Michelle Law Gordon said, Dr. Lotus, if you can only choose one of us, choose Brigadier General. And I'm going to tell you why. You see, it's important to never assume or take a stance that you were too high or in your ranking or too wealthily endowed not to connect with people. And the way I connected with Brigadier General Adams is through Chaplain Michelle Law Gordon. We were working together on suicide intervention training. And when she got ready to leave the Washington, D.C. area as the chaplain to go abroad to the UK, all of the people in the area that knew and loved her came together, and Brigadier Adams was present. It's not often that a brigadier general will attend your farewell. Yet this man leads from the deck plates. And I'll never forget how he touched me. And he talked about Indigenous people here in America and the work he's doing to help not only Indigenous people, but all people, not just here in the United States, but all around the world. From the highest levels of leadership in government to the most humble beginnings of what I like to say, human beings who are spiritual beings having a human experience. Brigadier General does not overshadow anything with race, religion, creed, or color. He overshadows everything with love. And because of this, our armed forces, the Army, both, and the Air Force, two services that he has been a part of, he has spilled over that act, that notion, that mindset, the belief in love over to me, a Navy lady, and to everyone that he comes in contact with. One of the biggest things that I've learned from him was to be present, to stay connected, no matter what rank you wear on your shoulders or on your arm sleeves, no matter how much money you've acquired in the bank, no matter how many accolades you receive, know this, that love powers us all. And in the words of Brigadier General, it takes love. If we love one another, it can solve a multitude of challenges. It can solve race wars. It can solve international wars. It can solve the war within. Many of us have wars within ourselves, trying to understand who we are, constantly bombarded by things outside of us. And Brigadier General Adams has taught me, look inside first, find that love inside, and share that love, not just outside to the people around you, your mother, your father, your immediate family, your friends, and even your frenemies, but share that love all around the world. And therefore, I thank you, Brigadier General Adams, for being a part of my life, for changing my life, for making my life even better. This morning, I called him on the phone to let him know that I was going to be speaking about him. And I had not spoken with him, pardon me, in several months. Yet, once he heard my voice, he said, "Hello, Dr. Lotus Trichet, how are you?" Just knowing that he remembered me as I remembered him, I send you love. Thank you for allowing me to share this moment of Brigadier General Adams. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I see many of you are clapping in the chat. For those of you that are listening to us, go ahead, add your claps in the chat. Be sure to connect with Brigadier General Adams and let him know that you heard it right here, right today. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me this moment to share with you. As we go and as we grow, Kathy is going to come up next. Let me tell you a bit about Kathy. Kathy Reese Cross. She's a bold, faith-driven leader, cultivating authority, courage, and knowledge, guiding purpose-filled visionaries to lead unapologetically, speak with clarity, and leave a generational legacy. Help me welcome the renowned Kathy Cross Reese. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that intro. I almost had to look back and see, was she talking about Shirley? Thank you so much. I
Thank
really
you.
do appreciate the opportunity to share a leader in Black history. I believe this month is not just for this month, but it's a daily journey. Now, my chosen person is Shirley Chisholm. I chose her because she is unbought, unbossed, and on time. She is the first woman that I thought of because when she was in the political spectrum, I was merely a child. So at that time, I saw what was possible, what I could do. Many of us are not able to see leaders that look like us, that sound like us. However, I was able to see her at an early age. I'll share who she was, and then I'll speak as though she were speaking to you today. Who was Shirley Chisholm? Shirley Chisholm was the first Black woman elected to U.S. Congress in 1969. She was a daughter of Caribbean immigrants, an educator turned legislator. She entered rooms that were never designed for her. She entered quietly. No, she did not enter quietly. She entered it on assignment. She was on assignment and she carried out her assignment from the time she entered until the time she left. There's a cost, though, in being first. There's a cost that she paid. She was excluded from power circles. She was dismissed and underestimated, often isolated. She was told to wait, soften, be grateful. Huh. She wasn't rejected because she was unqualified. She was resisted because she was disrupted. She was disrupted. She had courage to run anyway. She ran anyway in 1972 as the first Black woman to run for president. She knew she wouldn't win, but she ran to shift imagination. What was possible? She showed that doors can be opened, even though she was not able to step into it. She opened doors. Sometimes you don't run to win, she said. You run so someone else knows it's possible. Yes, she showed us that it was possible. There's a tie between faith, obedience, and she showed it clearly. Again, I say she was unbought, unbossed, and I dare say unapologetic. And that's what I love, unapologetic. She didn't apologize for who she was. She lived and carried out her assignment fully. She refused to be controlled by money, party, or fear. She legislated with conscience. She served people, not power. Yes, she served people. She cared about the people she served. She served with integrity. It was her currency. Her courage was her strategy. Yes, her courage was her strategy. I love that about her. Now, what would she say if she was here with us today? Unfortunately, she's not, but I believe her legacy lives on through her work and through her calling, through her assignment. This is what she would say. Don't wait for permission. If you're uncomfortable, you're growing. If you're uncomfortable, you're growing. I really felt that. Your voice belongs in the room, even if the room resists. Leadership requires conviction before consciousness. Yes, leadership requires conviction before consciousness. You're not late. You're right on time. That's what she would say. You're not late. You're right on time. I believe Shirley Chisholm was legacy in motion. She was legacy in motion. She was able to command rooms, even though her voice was sometimes muffled because those around her didn't want to hear. She was steadfast and determined to live out her assignment. I believe I stand on the shoulders of Shirley Chisholm. I may not be running for political office, but I believe her example is an example of leadership exemplified. She was unbought, unbossed, and unafraid, and I add unapologetic. And because she dared to go first, I dare to go forward. Black history didn't end, it is still speaking. And today, we are the voice. Each and every person that speaks, each and every leader that is exemplified, each and every person that we speak about, and those that we do not speak about. There is a list that will be shared later on today, and I want you to take some time and learn about others who are exemplifying leadership in Black history. Again, it's not just today, it's not just this month, but it's every day. I stand on the shoulders of Shirley Chisholm. Again, unbought, unbossed, unafraid, as she would say. And I say unapologetic. She did not apologize for being herself. She continued, she continued, and she was steadfast and determined. And that is what I love most about my chosen leader, Shirley Chisholm. Thank you.
Magnificent.
Yes.
Are you ready to raise the roof? Are you ready to raise the roof? Well, it is time to raise the roof. We have none other than Roz Knighting Warfield. She is the author. She is the Smile proprietor. She is the host of Trucking God's Way. And she's coming your way today to say her message. Please welcome the incomparable Dr. Roz Knighting Warfield.
Hey. It is a wonderful day today, and I am going to be empowered that I will be sharing May Carol Jemison. And I think sometimes you see her in writing as Carol May Jemison. And Carol was born in October 17th, 1956, in Decatur, Alabama, of the USA. Okay. But she grew up in Chicago, Illinois, after her family moved there when she was about 3 years old in search of better opportunities. She is celebrated as an American physicist, engineer, former NASA astronaut, and she holds the historic distinction of being the first African American woman to travel into space. Oh my gosh, she is so extraordinary. And also a trailblazer whose life inspires many. Carol's life, May, she was the youngest of three children. Charlie Jemison, her father, who worked as a maintenance supervisor, and her mother was an educator, an elementary school teacher. Her siblings are also noted and impactful careers, a sister being a psychologist, and a brother who is a well known real estate broker. From the age of early, yes, May showed a keen curiosity about the natural world and science. She spent hours reading science books, developed interest in astronomy and evolution, and kept asking questions about how the universe works. As far as her education from Chicago to world stage, Mae Jemison was an exceptional student. She graduated from Morgan Park High School at the age of sweet 16. She then attended Stanford University, where she earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Chemical Engineering and a Bachelor of Arts degree in African and American History Studies in 1997. After Stanford, she pursued medicine and earned her MD, Doctor of Medicine, from Cornell University Medical College in 1981. My God, graduated early, and then all of these accolades just because she continued to study and had a curiosity about science and the evolution of the world. Before NASA, Dr. also attended and took time with the Peace Corps as a humanitarian. After medical school, Dr. Jemison worked as a general practice physician in Los Angeles soon after she joined the Peace Corps. When she served as a medical officer in Sierra Leone and Liberia in West Africa from 1983 to 1985. Her work there involved supervising medical care and conducting health research. Her international experience deepened her global perspective and service, reflecting not only her intellect, but her compassion for people's well being. Now, on to what made her really jump up in the hot limelight of people's eyes. This is about NASA and her historic space flight. Inspired by space exploration and pioneers like Sally Ride, May applied to NASA's astronaut program. In 1987, she was selected as an astronaut candidate out of thousands of applications, becoming part of NASA's astronaut group 12. Then on September 12, 1992, she made history aboard the space shuttle. You know what? I just went blank on the word I want to say. My words are jumping, but Endeavor on mission STS 47. Excuse me, had a moment there. Serving as a mission specialist. My God. That must have been interesting, floating in the air and poking on plants and things of natures of what she's looking at, right? During this mission, Dr. Jemison and her international crew orbited the Earth for nearly 80 days. She conducted scientific experiments involving bone cell research and microgravity, studies on motion sickness, and investigations tied to materials science and life sciences. Now, when I found out about the motion sickness, some of y'all who know me, head trauma, and vertigo. I'm going to have to look her up. Lotus, do you know her? We're going to have to get her. By the mission's end, yes. She had by the mission's end, she had logged over 190 hours in space, breaking barriers and inspiring generations. Why would you say Mae Jemison matters? Mae Jemison is not only historically significant, she is transformational. She shattered stereotypes about who can become an astronaut and more or less gender bound, a female astronaut, especially for women and people of color. Her work blends science, medicine, engineering, and the arts, demonstrating the creativity and curiosity go hand in hand with excellence. Those of you who know me, you know I love puzzles. All of those puzzle pieces of her curiosity, wanting to explore and be a great explorer, fit all together. She has inspired countless young people to pursue careers in STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and math. What is May doing today? After leaving NASA in 1993, Dr. Jemison continued blazing trails beyond space. She's the founder of the Jemison Group, Incorporated, a technology consulting firm that explores integrating science and society. Founder of the Dorothy Jemison Foundation for Excellence, which promotes science, literacy, and education. And as you remember, her mother was an educator. And I think that's a fond admiration of what she did for her mother. Principal for the 100-Year Starship Project, focused on advancing technology for future human space travel. An advocate for STEM education, especially for underdeserved communities, launching international science camps such as the Earth We Share. A teacher and public speaker, serving as a professor and keynote speaker around the world. Author of books and role model featured in media, including celebrated appearances on Star Trek, The Next Generation. Isn't that cool? So let's talk about legacy and inspiration. The limits exist only in the mind. Mae Jemison's journey reminds us that dreams are achievable through the education, the perseverance, faith, and courage. Her story encourages every listener, especially young women and people of color, to dream bodily, pursue excellence, and never let barriers limit your vision. So guess what? Congratulations to Mae Carol Jemison for her curiosity that came into fruition of many dreams, visions, and goals that she had in her heart. And what I would want to say as a declaration of what the works that she has done, if you are dreaming or you've ever thought of something, you need to go do the research and read and just go make it come to life. So I've had the honor to speak and share about Mae C. Jemison. You're loved, appreciated, celebrated, valued, and most cherished. And if you know her, make sure you share this with her. Ciao for now.
Wow, this is wonderful. Thank you so much. Let's give the dynamic Dr. Roz a hand. Thank you so much. You are making my job so easy today. Kathy came out and sparked the fire and got this. She got us all ablaze. I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Dr. Lotus. It's so
fantastic. I know that you all are having a magnificent time. These two ladies have come out and kicked this fire off, and it's all ablaze. And so we're going to keep it going with Mr. Alex Dumas. Alex Dumas partners with mission-driven companies to build unshakable confidence as their competitive edge. Through keynotes, podcasts, and books, Alex unlocks their potential and he drives lasting change in their organizations. And he's here today to help unlock greater potential for us all. Help me welcome the incomparable Mr. Alex Dumas. Hello, Alex. How are you? And welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Lotus. Appreciate it. Great to be with you all. I want to read to you a quick passage that stood out to me is going to really relate to the individual I want to highlight and I admire. And then one day, just about when those of us who had passed were about to move up to eighth grade, which would be our year of high school, something happened which was to become the first major turning point of my life. Somehow, I happened to be alone in a classroom with Mr. Ostrowski, my English teacher. He was a tall, rather reddish white man, and he had a thick mustache. I had gotten some of my best marks under him, and he had always made me feel like he liked me. He was, as I have mentioned, a natural-born advisor about what you ought to read, what you ought to do, what you ought to think, and about any and everything. We used to make unkind jokes about him. Why was he teaching in Mason instead of somewhere else? Getting for himself some of the success in life that he kept telling us to get. I know he probably meant well in what he had happened to advise me that day. I doubt he meant any harm. It was just in his nature as an American white man. I was one of his top students, one of the school's top students, but all he could see for me was this kind of future in your place that almost all white people see for black people. He told me, Malcolm, you ought to be thinking about a career. Have you been given it any thought? The truth is I hadn't. I never figured out why I told him, well, yes, sir. I've been thinking about, I'd like to be a lawyer. Mr. Osofsky looked surprised. He leaned back in his chair and he said, Malcolm, one of life's first needs for us is to be realistic. Don't misunderstand me now. We all like you. We know you. And you know that. But you got to be realistic about being a nigger. A lawyer, that's not a realistic goal for a nigger. Now, this came from the autobiography of Malcolm X, which was released posthumously when he passed away in 1965 with Alex Haley. Now, this book, that passage in particular, it touched me in a special way when I was a younger man. You see, I was fortunate to have an older brother who saw a direction for me that wasn't aligned with what our parents had taught and instilled in us as our values. You see, I was putting toxins and poison into my body. I was depressed at this time of 16, 17, 18 years old. And I was against the world. I hated where I was. I hated life. I was in a predominantly white institution as far as a Catholic private school. But yet in my neighborhood, I'm surrounded by diversity, black neighbors, Hispanic, white, Asians. Caught in two worlds. Not quite black enough for this side because I was in a blazer and jackets and ties. And yet not accepted by the other side because my skin, the image, the thought, the barrier that America has constructed. When I read these words when I was 17, the light sparked inside of me that someone else had gone through horrific beginnings, from his father being murdered by the Klan, by his mother having a psychiatric breakdown, moving to Boston and Detroit, where he learned the way of the streets, became a hustler, a pimp, a drug dealer, eventually obviously being caught, captured, and incarcerated for nearly 10 years. But it was in that prison, it was in that hell inside of the cell that he found himself, that he found religion, he found Islam, and he found purpose. Afterwards, he became a minister, and as he described it in the book, fishing for lost souls. Well, I was one of those fish. Even though he passed away long before I was born and read this book, his words, his life was meant for me. And what's continues to stand out to me is the way that he spoke, the way that he challenged people's way of thinking, the way that he would not allow those who are intolerant, those who are divisive, to be comfortable. And some of the speakers said before, I wonder what it would look like if they were here today. That's a question I have, especially over this past weekend. As many of you saw, our current administration mocking prior presidents, depicting them as monkeys and apes. I wonder what Malcolm would have said. Last year would have been his 100th anniversary, his 100th birthday, by being born in 1925. But in 1965, he was taken from us. And I say that word taken, but he also knew that his life was forgiven. He knew that in his mind, he would die a violent death. And he spoke about this many times. And maybe that's where I connected with them. The freedom to know that the words that I speak, the way that I am, the person who I am being, is going to cause discomfort for others. Is going to cause other people to want to squash that, to put that fire out. And that left him uncaged, in the sense of, what else can you do to me but take my life? Between death threats, his house being bombed, children being threatened, he stayed true to the cause. He stayed true to the bigger purpose. And that's what's inspired me as a speaker. When I think about the audiences I get to speak in front of and the clients I get to work with, seeing their situation now, but also past them. What will this mean for generations? What will this mean in terms of legacy? And with Malcolm's legacy, I'm going to read you a few of his highlights, if you want to call it that. Obviously, being a champion for civil rights. But beyond that, as someone who was in the Nation of Islam, and during that time, division between blacks and whites, and division within the nation itself, and Muslims, and him separating from that faction, going to Mecca for the pilgrimage that most Muslims take, but maybe aren't able to actually go on to Mecca. So what Malcolm was able to do in his short time was elevate Black consciousness. He expanded the Nation of Islam through his recruiting, through his speaking, through his works in Muhammad Speaks, a journal that a newsletter that he created. He's one of the first faces on the media who can speak intelligently against bigots, against racists, and not lose their cool, and challenge back with strength, and use intellectual philosophy to get his points across. But the lasting legacy that Malcolm left with me is what we're here today. When you think about these words, this acronym, BOLD, right? A leader, someone with authority, someone with the courage to stand up for others, to make a difference. I wonder for you, what would that look like? What would be the big bold action you take? What would be the thing that makes you say, I've had enough of this, and I'm going to speak up for those who can't speak up for themselves? The last lesson that Malcolm taught me was that my story matters and my voice matters, and so does yours. So thank you.
Exceptional. Exceptional. Thank you so much for sharing. We often hear that sharing is caring, and sharing is caring. And we are going to continue to share more. I told you all that he was going to unlock greater potential for us all, and he did just that. Thank you so much. Our next dynamic speaker is an author, an evangelist, he's a master motivator, a 10th degree Black belt, a former college professor, and he's happily married with 8 children. And in his daily life, he has breakthroughs. And in today, he is going to help us break through to greater heights. Please welcome none other than the magnificent one, Dr. Breakthrough. Hello, Dr. Breakthrough. Great to see you. Happy to have
Hey,
you.
Doc, it's good to be here. I appreciate you. Thank you for all that you do. And for everyone watching on YouTube, by the way, I'm here speaking and I'm watching on YouTube too. But anyway, spread this word. But thank you. Everyone has been speaking. It's been absolutely amazing. Now, real quick, I always give a disclaimer. It's Dr. Breakthrough. I can't provide a breakthrough. I just prescribe the breakthrough. However, when people follow the breakthrough prescription, God Almighty provides the breakthrough they desire and deserve. And a breakthrough, it's exploding through barriers that at one time seemed insurmountable. So this information, my friend, it's powerful. So if you would allow me to share my screen, I'm going to give you, it's Sunday. And so some of us, we're usually in service. And so we're going to bring service. Ecclesia Church is a called out assembly of believers. So I'm going to teach on something and take you to church. How's that at the same time, all in one? So if you'd allow me to share my screen, please, that would allow me to share. Someone that can make me a host, I think. I would appreciate that. If not, I'll just have to go on. But let's see. Can we share it? All right. Because I'm gonna be talking about the Samaritan. The Samaritan. All righty. Okay, I guess I can't share my screen. All righty. Well, that's fine here. So in the scripture, I'm going to share you. So basically, I don't even believe in Black history because what they call Black history is simply American history or history that's been omitted and sometimes purposely omitted from the history books. So when I was a college professor, I had a course. I learned biographies of great men. Now, why did it include women? You know what I mean? So anyway, but I told the professor, man, everybody, this is great, but did anybody look like me that did something that he said, well, I'm sure, but we just never learned about it. Well, I started studying, and by the time they hired me to be a professor, I had the information to teach on. And so I asked them, hey, can you want to take this information that I've already received and you can use it? And they said, well, no, we just got too much. I said, okay. So by default, I have to teach. So we had the biographies of great men, and then I had to teach biographies of great Black men, right? It's like, what's the difference, right? Well, then the history course, I wanted to teach a history course. Well, they wanted it to be Black history. I'm like, no, 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 no. So we called it the role of Blacks in history. Okay. And so I taught a whole semester also on the role of Blacks in the scripture. So the person that looks like me that I'm going to teach on is right in the Bible. And so Luke chapter number 10, verses 28 through 37. That'll have the story, and I'll break this down to you. But as I go through this, just understand that in 722, well, let me back up. So they always go from Genesis, talk about Shem, Ham, and Japheth through Noah, the world's repopulated. Basically, from Shem come the Jewish people, but there's a mixture intermixing there, but in a main way. And then from Japheth, the Indo-Europeans, and then from Ham, the dark-skinned people of the world. Well, through that line, you follow through the line of Ham all the way through, and there's a so-called curse of Ham, which was a forest. It was Canaan, one of the boys that was cursed, and that boy went to Canaan land, which was the promised land before the Jews ever got there. So that's a whole other story. But anyway, so make a long story short, the Assyrians descend from the descendant of Ham. So these are dark-skinned people. So the Assyrians in 722 averted them to Israel and took them into captivity, and they intermarried, and so you had a half-breed race. Now the Jews couldn't stand the Gentiles, but there's only one group they couldn't stand anymore, and that's that half-breed, half Jew, half Gentile, and they just happen to look like me. Right? So watch this. So when you understand this, the story takes on a so much more powerful connotation. So, and let's see if I could try one more time if they'll let me share, and if not, I'm just going to have to read it, and you'll. But if you have a scripture, Luke chapter number 10. Okay, there we go. All right, that's good. So anyway, Luke chapter number 10, and this lawyer wanted to justify himself, and he said, who's my neighbor, right? And so Luke chapter number 10, verse 29 is where we're going to pick up. And verse 30 says, Jesus said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho, fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment and wounded him and departed, leaving him half dead. So imagine this man now. That was a terrible path there from Jerusalem to Jericho. It's kind of like what we would say going through the hood, right? And so this guy got beat up. They stripped him of his clothes, took everything he had, and literally left him half dead. Now I could identify with that. 6 years old in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, out in the middle of a field playing. A gang of teenagers came my way and they grabbed me, beat me up. Again, I'm a 6-year-old boy. I'm crying out for help. Mom, help, please, somebody. And I was a 6-year-old boy. Why would it take a gang of teenagers? But needless to say, they punched me, picked me up, slammed me, stomped on me like I was an ant or a roach, kicked all over me. I'm bleeding from everywhere you can bleed. You would think that was enough. That was enough for these guys. They flipped me over on my back. I'm face up. They took a great big old bucket of tar, poured it on my face, poured it on my body, took a bunch of feathers, threw them on me, literally left me there to die. 1966, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Thank God somebody finally found me, rushed me to the hospital. Now, the tar wasn't hot, but it was thick, almost suffocated. But thank God I'm alive. So, but I can identify a little bit with this man. He's half dead. Listen, my friend. And so first thing we notice is a certain man, but then we notice verse 31, by chance, it says there came down a certain priest. And by the way, if you want to follow, that's Luke chapter number 10, verse 31. A certain priest that came, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. Now watch this now. So this guy came, and he saw that this guy was beat up and left in the road half dead. So he crosses on the other side of the road. See, he didn't want to have anything to do with this. Like, nah, right? And this is supposed to be the religious man. This is supposed to be one of the servants, God's servants, my friend. But this is what he does. So the Lord is using this as a strong lesson, and I want you to get it. Verse 32, it says, likewise, a Levite. Now, Levite, again, full-time servant. It's like a minister of the gospel. And as a matter of fact, they didn't even have an inheritance. Their inheritance was the Lord himself. And so they served the priests, they served the congregation and so forth. But this Levite, it says, verse 32, he came and looked on him. He saw how bad. He's like, oh, man, this guy, oh, my goodness. And then he passed by on the other side. Now, imagine this. You're a full-time servant. The first one, get this now, the priest, I can imagine he said, man, I'm too busy. I got to go preach somewhere. You too busy to stop to help this person. And then the Levite, he's like, oh, he's hurt too bad. And this guy passes by. I'm going to tell you about their attitude, by the way, in just a minute. And then verse 33, but a certain Samaritan. Notice it never says good Samaritan. So every time I went to a lesson on people talk about the Good Samaritan. No. There's no such thing as Good Samaritan. The reason they say Samaritan, because he had a dark complexion. Watch this now. And so when the priest and the Levite, with these folks, the the uh, uh, the special people didn't do. This down and outer, this brother, hello, somebody, he stops. And so people want to say, well, he's a good one. No, he ain't a good one. The Bible says a certain Samaritan. But again, in 722 BC, the Assyrians, a virgin of Israel, and married them, had a half-breed, half-Jew, half-Gentile. So again, the Jews didn't like the Gentiles, but they really didn't like the Samaritans. Matter of fact, when they got mad at Jesus, they said, say we not well, thou art a devil. I mean, thou art a Samaritan and hast the devil. So the worst thing you can call somebody is a Samaritan, kind of like people with the N word. Well, no, back then they called you the S word, Samaritan. So this is a dark-skinned brother, my friend. Listen, he's used to being ostracized. He's used to being down and out. He's used to, watch this now, but he, it says, came where he was. And when he saw him, the scripture says he had compassion on him. This black man had compassion. And he went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine on his beast. And he brought him to the inn and took care of him. So he also had courage, not just compassion, he had courage. But then he says on tomorrow when he came, and by the way, he had cash, right? He took care of him at the inn. And then verse 35, then on the morrow he says, when he departed, he took out 2 pence. He gave it to the host and said, if whatsoever thou spendest more when I come again, I will repay thee. He also had credit. This man had good credit. But here's the clincher, verse 36. Which of these 3 thinkest thou was neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves? And he said, he that showed mercy. And then Jesus said, go thou and do likewise. In other words, go and do like this brother. Not a good, no good Samaritan. This is just a regular black brother that saw a need. See, he knew what it was to be a down and out. When you see somebody like that, see, the Samaritan was so different because, see, the priest and Levite, they said, if I stop to help this man, their attitude was, what will happen to me? The Samaritan said, the brother said, if I don't stop to help this man, what will happen to him? Come on, somebody. So watch this now. So again, here's the attitude. The priest, the Levite, they have this attitude. What's mine is mine, and I'm going to keep it. But the brother, the Samaritan, said, what's mine is thine, and I'm going to give it to you. And so Jesus said, now go and do likewise. In other words, be like this brother, be like this Samaritan, and help those who are in need. And that's why I'm so grateful for what we're doing here, this Black Hour of Power, every day giving contributions, giving honor to some folks that look like us, my friend, who did great deeds. And that will inspire us to do greater deeds. Hey, God bless you, my friend. Be the Samaritan for someone else and recognize that Samaritan had dark skin. God bless you.
Woo! He did that. Won't he do it? Yes, he did. And he did that. Fantastic. Thank you so much for this amazing presentation. That's definitely a breakthrough. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. As we move forward, we look to find more food for our souls. Here's what I like to say to all of you. If you've not shared this broadcast out, share the broadcast out. It's that time. There is somebody that needs to hear a word from somebody that's speaking here today. So take your phone, take your iPad. Some of us have 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 phones. Use those phones, use that time to share it out. Okay. So with no further ado, we have one other speaker, I do believe, Dr. Breakthrough. So let's make sure we do that. The next person that we will have to greet you is a person who specializes in sunshine. Tracy Wright is a chef, and she is the creator of Sunshine Picks. Please welcome none other than Miss Tracy Wright. And while we're waiting for Tracy to join us, I'd like you to take this opportunity. Let's bring our numbers up. Let's reach out. Let's show people that we love them and we care. Reach out and tag someone. And when you tag someone, when you share this out, go ahead and put their name in the comment. If you scroll up through some of the comments, you'll see some of the people that I've tagged. We want to hear from them just like we want to hear from you. As you know, so many of our speakers here today has done a magnificent job sharing their love, their light, and all the things that they know that they've learned about these dynamic men and women that they have talked about, raved about, and that they carry in their heart. And they use these people as an example for how they can not only live, but how they can treat people. It appears that Tracy won't be with us today. So please, as you are here, share this out with someone that you might want to recommend to be here as well. So I'm sure that I will have one of our other co-hosts will be joining me momentarily as we unpack a little more of what's happening here today. Now, from what I understand, I want to send a message out to Tracy because I understand that Tracy lost her voice. So that's why she's not here. So let's send Tracy some powerful energy and some powerful love so that Tracy can have a breakthrough with her voice and she'll join us in the future here at this amazing event. As we unpack what we've shared here today, how many of you have been touched by what Kathy said, sharing her love of just understanding how someone can, let me go right up. I want to share with you about Shirley Chisholm, how Shirley Chisholm made an impact in her life. How many of you know Shirley Chisholm? If you know Shirley Chisholm or if you've ever heard of her, go ahead and put a 10 in the comment on YouTube. And also you can go to YouTube and you could share YouTube over to your Facebook and to all of your other platforms so that people can share it. And I see some 100s there. I see some 10s there, and I will not be left out. Let me get my 100 in there as well. And you can do it too. There you are. I have my 100. And then the dynamic, illustrious, raising the roof, Dr. Roz came and she talked to us about none other than Betty Reed Shoskin. Amazing. How many of you have heard of her? If you've not heard of her, make sure you go back and listen to this broadcast because Dr. Ross did a phenomenal job giving us some insights of her light, her love, and how she impacted people. Not just back then, she's impacting people today and will impact people as all of our leaders are impacting people for all days to come. And then Mr. Alex Dumas, he came and showed how we could be unshakable. And he taught us to not only be unshakable, but also the things that he talked about Malcolm X. Malcolm X is a powerful legacy for many of us, not just for people of color, but for all people. As I like to say, spiritual beings having a human experience. He shared with us how to look beyond the color of our skin and really unlock the love inside and know that we are not alone. And then, of course, the remarkable Mr. Breakthrough himself, Dr. Breakthrough, helped us to have a breakthrough, to know more about the inside of God's love for us all. And I thank each and every speaker. You have done a dynamic job, and I look forward to talking to each and every one of you. We know that you are sharing this out. We know that you were having a great time here today, and we'd like to welcome you. If you have a leader that you love, that you want to share with us, please make sure to go on our public page and connect with Dr. Smiley. You can connect with Dr. Roz or any of the co-hosts and let them know who that person is. And now, let's be clear. That person doesn't have to be someone who is on television, a celebrity. It can be someone who is making dynamic change, doing a fantastic job in their community or internationally that you believe has touched your soul, who has changed the way you think about things for the better. We want to hear from you. And again, I'd like to thank you, Brigadier General Terrence Adams, for allowing me to share what you've taught me and your love and light. I thank you. I'm just moving some things around here. Thank you so much, Miss Kathy. I see your comments. Thank you so much. As we move forward, there's another thing I'd like to share with you all. This is not just the beginning of this movement. This is a movement that will go on and on and on. As you've heard some of the speakers say, we don't need a particular month or a particular day to have these magnificent Black voices, these voices of power. It takes each and every one of us to understand that we all have a voice and we all can share our light and love. And so we ask that you continue to support this movement, not just support it from afar, yet to support it up close and personal if you so desire. And one of the ways that you can do that is go to YouTube, make your comment, let people hear your voice, let people understand what speaker, what word, what moment in time has impacted you, has helped you to see things from a different lens, something that has touched your heart, something that has changed your life, to make you know that you're not alone, to let you know that there are people right here that are connecting with you from a heart space to help elevate all people to a great place. Put it in the comment. Let us know. Share what you do so others can also connect with you too. And so I turn it over to our amazing Dr. Smile himself, Dr. Smiley. Ken will be joining us and our other hosts. Thank you. All right. Fantastic. And while you're all sharing out, take this moment, go ahead and share it out. I've just shared this with a few board members of certain organizations that I'm a part of. I've just also shared this out with Kim Jacobs, the show host of the Kim Jacobs Show. I've shared this out with Gerald Peterson, Andrea Marquez. I'm sharing this out in Africa, in multiple places in Africa. I've shared this out in the Philippines. Where have you shared this out? And there she is. There she is, Dr. Smile herself, Dr. Roz. I told you one of the co-hosts would be joining me, and I have not let you down. I've got the fireball, the lady that raises the roof no matter where she goes. Dr. Roz, woo, I got to tell you, you did a magnificent job. How was it for you hearing Kathy come in sharing what she shared.
Everything was so wonderful. What's a blessing is you've been on my mind, and someone said just the first part of your name, and I was thinking, huh. And then when I saw, like, Dr. Lotus, I
Yeah.
mean, this was awesome because you do this as in your professional life,
Yes.
and it was honored. I know that Kathy,
Yeah.
Alex, Dr. Breakthrough, we were
Yeah.
all honored to be hosted by you. And I'm going to say, I've just got to tell the truth. You know, I'm going to tell the truth anyway. I don't care where I am. I was jealous. I'm like, she knows Brigadier General? Okay, so I
Yeah.
know you know Macy Jameson. So we're going to have to make something happen.
We're gonna
So
have to have a
we'll be
talk.
on your show or something.
I know of her. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her in person yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I had the honor of meeting a few other amazing women, and they may know her because of uh, Brigadier General Adams. This morning we had a long conversation, and by the way,
Yes.
he was with his mother this morning as well. So yes, let's do it.
We'll have to do that. Well, y'all, this has been an awesome thing. Make sure that you are following Dr. Smiley, the
Yeah.
show, because this will be all of this week at 12 Eastern time. Okay. And so all the other zones, then you figure out your zone. Okay. Because I don't want to mess you up. I'll be done messed you up. But this is going on all month, a different time zone each week. And
Yeah.
I will return, Lotus, just so you know, and I don't know how your time is, but I will return on Friday with some awesome speakers on this Friday. On Friday the 13th. Who said Friday the 13th is bad luck? No way. No
No
way.
way.
You know, it's just another day to be great. So we thank y'all for joining us at the bold leaders, you know, who acknowledge authority, courage, and knowledge. You know, I got all those letters kind of mixed up,
Exactly.
okay? But we know what we are talking about. So we
Yeah.
thank Kathy, we thank Lotus, we thank Dr. Stan, we thank Alex, and most of all, Dr. Smiley and Faison, the team that host us in the background, because it takes a team, right, Lotus?
Yes,
It
it
takes
does.
a team. It takes a team to do this. So we're going to bid y'all farewell for today. Go enjoy your February 8th, 2026. And remember these mighty names in your heart and be able to share them with your friends, family, children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren to keep, as Jesse would say, to keep hope
Keep
alive.
alive.
Okay, y'all, till we meet again on tomorrow, 12 East Coast time, with another co-host, host, and 5 to 6 speakers. You take care for now. Ciao.
Ciao.